Oh man, have you Ren? So as far as books go, uh, have you ever read Hitchhiking with Buddha, or is it Hitchhiking Rides with Buddha? It's a book I read a long time ago, but it's about this um Canadian living in Japan who teaches English there, and he follows the sakura blossoms up north, and he like hitchhikes his way up, and it is he talks about everything to do with Japan and also a lot about like Buddhism, but it's a really great book on Japan. Teaches you a lot, and yeah, just the fact that you taught English there, it reminded me of that, and might be something you'd like. Yeah, Hitchhiking Rides with Buddha. Yep, by Will Ferguson. So there it is. You get a chance, I recommend checking out this book, especially if you're into anything Japanese and anything to do with uh like Buddhism. It goes into all that. It's great. And I am like completely blocking you. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Let you get up here. You can tell me to just move out of the way. Mount Fuji. Oh, see, I would love to hike Mount Fuji.
Hello.
Perfect time.
Hopefully everyone can hear me.
Actually, I should pick up.
So many people. Hi everybody. Melanie, Ren, Kayla. Hi.
Oh, see, I feel like that would be a great.
What would be a great audiobook? Oh. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's better. Maybe we can kind of
Yeah, sure.
there
Everyone.
or that one. I don't know.
This might be easier for me.
Oh, okay. Sorry I took a minute. Had things to do. Love that place. This guy's been there. What?
Yeah, that was
Jelly.
the best trip ever. Oh, love to go.
We should
It'll
go.
be fun.
I don't care how I get there. I just need to get there.
Don't swim.
I'm not going to swim. I don't think I'm going to swim. Maybe I could fly.
Yeah, flying.
I feel like flying is probably...
I still think they should invent catapult transport. Air we're not using.
I just need to really, really hone my apparition skills.
Oh, yeah. That too.
Oh boy, here we go. We're going to science in a minute. On the Harry Potter and the
Oh, we're
first
gonna
time,
science hard.
on the Harry Potter and the First Time Readers Reddit page, they put out, "What's your favorite headcanon?"
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people had these really,
Headcanon is the best.
like, really thoughtful, deep ideas about headcanon. Katie put out her idea that the three brothers made Moody's eye.
Okay.
And she gave this like big description, like, it's headcanon for me. But everybody put out these really thoughtful, cool ideas, and then I said that my favorite headcanon is that Slughorn drank all the Felix Felices before the Battle of Hogwarts and was just...
That's why he was a god in that battle.
Yes.
Yeah.
It always comes back to that every time.
But I was just like, oh, look at all these people having really cool ideas. Katie's was my favorite idea, but I was like, and I got 5 upvotes for that.
Oh, 5.
It's a small community.
Fair enough. What I was gonna say about air travel before we get into our authors. Planes have not gotten faster since like 1960, and the reason why is because if they flew any faster, they would start reaching like the speed of sound, and it would cause issues on the ground.
Kind of issue.
Like they had some supersonic planes, and they couldn't fly over residential areas with supersonic planes because it was like breaking windows and that sort of thing.
Got it.
Planes haven't gotten faster, but they have started falling apart more frequently.
Well, it's because it's the same planes, actually. No. Okay. So now that that's out of the way, who wants to start?
So the topic is authors, overrated authors.
Overrated and underrated.
Okay.
I'll throw one out here just to throw it out there. Ernest Hemingway,
Overrated.
big time.
Overrated.
Can we just say it?
We can say it.
I'll agree with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
he is pretty overrated.
A badass dude in real life.
Right. Lived a very extraordinary life.
Like, what a life.
Yeah, what
But
a life.
his novels leave a lot to be desired for me. Like, what is this? A man and a fish, but not good like Moby Dick.
Some people like ride the coattails of their books. Ernest Hemingway's books rode his coattails.
Yes!
That is so true. That is so
Like
true.
his life is more interesting than any of his books.
Yes!
Yeah, and that is a good point to make. So maybe he's overrated author, but an underrated just
Human
badass
being?
dude.
Yeah.
I mean, probably did some crazy shit in his day. Oh, sorry, I don't know if we're allowed to.
Nah, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. Just to clarify, yes, I know Moby Dick is about a whale, not a fish.
Like a big fish.
Not a fish.
Oh,
Whales are mammals.
Oh man, don't start. Don't get around.
what have I done?
Whales are mammals. They give birth to live
It's
babies.
a big fish.
It's not a big fish. They produce milk.
No, but we were talking about Hemingway because I was like, oh god, am I gonna get burned at the stake if I say Hemingway is overrated? And you're like, nope.
Nope. Hemingway. The
I
man's
mean-
not that great.
I like maybe a handful of his. I don't know.
I mean, I liked A Farewell to Arms. But
Ooh, that's the one I cannot stand.
I wasn't, like, in love with it. It was like, alright, this was alright.
It's boring.
Yeah, that was kind of also my thing. It was like, it was alright. It wasn't terrible. It was
Great
alright.
writer, but just his books aren't that interesting.
I will say for Hemingway, his short story, A Clean, Well-Lit Place, highly recommended.
Good story.
That's a great short story. But yeah, his novels, I don't know. I mean, yeah, Farewell to Arms, I thought was boring and not interesting
The
to
Old
me.
Man and the Sea.
I mean,
Those are the only
title
two I've
is
read.
the story.
The title is the story.
Yeah.
We get the metaphor. I don't need like 200 pages of the metaphor. You could have done it in a short story. I didn't need all of that.
I will give this to Hemingway. I do like his writing style. Very succinct and doesn't like waste any space. It's just like, just give me what I need and let's move on.
I like it.
That's been his
But
critical reputation for a long time.
Yeah.
It depends on the book.
I like The Sun Also Rises, and I like For Whom the Bell Tolls. Apart from that, That's all I need from
Is For
Hemingway.
Whom the Bell Tolls good? Because that's like
I've
the
read that
one
one.
I always hear. Anytime anyone says, you got to read Hemingway.
Hello,
Read
Adventures
this
of
book.
Xavier. Welcome.
I think it's a very good book. I think it's well worth reading. So I would say that's one of his better books. I would say.
For Whom the Bell
Maybe-
Tolls.
For Whom the
Maybe
Bell
I'll give
Tolls.
him one more shot with
You
that.
just have it's about the Spanish Civil War.
Yep.
Mhm.
So you
That
have
I
to
knew.
you have to go in knowing that it's a brooding war story about like a mercenary guy who
Oh my
doesn't really
God.
want to be there.
What? Hemingway would write that? No.
Shocked.
But it was a good. I would say that The Sun Also Rises, very readable book. Interesting characters. I just
I just don't know if I'd call him one of the greatest of all time. Like, people put him up on this pedestal.
He's
and I'm
renowned, and for that,
Yeah.
I think he's overrated.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I
I don't
mean.
think he should be up there with like Nabokov.
No, not even close.
uh,
Other
The
modern
big
writers.
wigs.
So Ren said John Updike, and I've never read John Updike.
Now is
So-
John Updike the one who did blanking right now? I'm gonna feel like a fool in a second. I
was
know he
gonna
did a
look it
very famous book.
up.
Just all I got in my head was Updog.
Hey, what's up, dog? What's up with you?
Smells like Updog in here.
And then the other thing I was thinking was Upton Sinclair, another Up thing, which is not the what we're talking about. But yeah, John Updike. What am I? What am I forgetting here? Big.
If you guys have never read anything by him, like I
Oh,
definitely have.
he's written like tons
There's one
of books.
big one.
The live streams. I think we stopped actually on that account at
Okay, never
number
mind.
4. Mine I think will be up on the gaming channel. I'll double check.
Yeah.
But
I take it back. I actually don't know any.
I'll check that for you in a little bit.
Run Rabbit Run. Is Ren saying that's overrated or under?
His most
overrated?
famous
Okay.
His most famous work is his Rabbit series. Rabbit Run, Rabbit Redux, Rabbit is Rich, Rabbit at Rest. Chronicles the life of the middle-aged class everyman Harry Rabbit Angstrom over the course of several decades from young adulthood to death. Oh, it's a story about a middle-aged man coming to terms with his own mortality or having a midlife crisis or something. That's what it sounds like. White dude with a crisis? Okay. Yeah, I can see why that's over.
I don't need to read the book because I'm gonna be living it in about 20 years.
Yeah, y'all are gonna be struggling.
I've tried to read that book like 4 times now because that is exactly what closing time is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, there's a sequel to Catch-22, and it's not good.
Wait, we have to acknowledge Ren's comment.
He takes 2 pages to describe a guy tying his shoe on an escalator.
Oh my god.
Dude, that sounds like Ulysses.
Yeah, or
That's
Infinite
why
Jest or something.
I couldn't read Ulysses. I tried. Maybe I need to try again. I tried to read Ulysses, and it was just like I read like 120 pages, and literally 15 minutes had passed, and I'm just like, there's 20 characters, and it's all about this little town in Ireland, and I don't even know, but I'm reading this book, and like so much shit has happened. But it's been 15 minutes. It's just like I felt like I spent hours with this nun. And it was like 5 minutes and it's still like 8:05 and I'm like, "Oh my god, and I still have like 1,000 pages left to read. I can't do this. I can't do this."
Yeah, and what's the scene in Infinite Jest where it's a tennis match? 30 pages describing a tennis match. 30.
Mother of God.
30 pages.
Around there. Apologies if I have that wrong,
I
but
feel like a game of tennis takes less time than it would to read that. Serena Williams
Yeah.
could scorch someone in less time. Like,
right.
I'm gonna change the subject a little bit because that actually reminded me of something. So I'm gonna give you an underrated one.
Okay.
We'll shift
All right.
to underrated.
We'll switch it up.
Okay, sure.
We'll go back and forth. Overrated,
I
underrated.
feel like you wanted to complain about closing time a little bit and you didn't get the opportunity.
I did, but
The moment
I
has
don't.
passed.
I don't think. I can't think of who wrote it
Joseph
now.
Heller.
Joseph Heller. I don't think he's underrated
That's
or
fair.
overrated.
That's fair.
He's the
I think-
Catch-22 guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think he's right where he's supposed to be.
Yeah,
Like
fair.
Catch-22 was a masterpiece. It was great. He just
Yeah, definitely.
Shouldn't have done it again because he nailed it the first time.
yeah.
But there's
it was,
too much money to be made, you know. Once you strike gold, you gotta.
I think it's a
again.
Herbert Lee didn't have that problem.
well-read, not well-read. It's a well-written book. Closing Time.
Just sucks.
It's just he was in a bad place at the time. I think
Okay.
it's all about like mortality and the end of life and
Is it just brooding?
your
dark?
legacy. Yeah. Like he tries to bring that humor that he had in Catch-22, but you can tell it's just like forced. Like
Mhm.
it's not the same.
Yeah, I feel like you can write about that stuff, the darker brooding, but you have to make it interesting and new. You have to do a new spin on it. Otherwise, it's the same old dreary.
Yeah, he tried. The jokes just fell short, and it just made me sad. Like, I don't know any other way to describe it. That book just made me sad.
And that's an interesting point because we were discussing earlier. What is a purpose of literature? Should it lift people up? Should it make people excited? Should it show a bright future, or should it do something else?
I think it should make you feel something.
Right.
Whether it's good, bad, it should make you laugh, cry,
Mhm.
happy, sad. Like it should
yeah.
make you. It should impact you. It should make you feel something.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I mean by lift you up. I mean, that has a positive connotation, but you could be lifted by feeling sadness.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
could
Absolutely.
bring you to a better place.
Really good books should move you.
I mean, I have a weird like draw to like post-apocalyptic dystopian novels myself. So
Mhm.
I mean, I don't.
Right.
And that's so not my cup of tea. I am not a dystopian novel
But
person.
even that could be read as like, determination, resilience,
Yeah,
Perseverance.
Right.
Never
I don't.
never
I
give
mean,
up.
never give up type
Never
stuff.
surrender.
Yeah. I mean, I might be weird or whatever, but like you said, the human perseverance, or just maybe I read it to see like, well, I think things are bad now, but hey, look, they could be worse. We
could be
could
worse.
be
That's a
in
good-
this,
Right.
Like the opposite of escapism.
Or like
Yeah.
you see it like with
It's like I don't want to escape into a horrible.
I want to feel better about what's happening right now.
yeah.
Let
Like
me read
reverse escapism.
The problem is though when you read Fahrenheit 451 and then you read news about Florida and you're like, "Oh my god, it's happening."
Right. Which one was the book? Yeah.
Well-
Yeah.
The news or the book?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which one was the?
I was about to
big,
say
big
like
story?
another thing about those books is you read them and it's like it kind of prepares you and shows you like what could happen, and it helps you see the signs so you can stop
Right,
it
and
before
then when
it
it's
actually
happening,
does
you
happen.
can see it and you're going, "Hey, this is happening. Stop."
Yeah, I have that with movies about post-apocalyptic. Just deviating briefly, I'm always like, would I survive this situation?
We've deviated briefly like 5 times in
Yes.
a row. This is no longer brief.
But yeah, like any movie like that, like A Quiet Place, for example.
Mm.
First thing that comes to mind. I just recently rewatched that. Yeah, I'd be dead instantly. I mean, there's no way quiet forever.
Oh yeah.
There's no way anyone could be quiet forever.
There's also like a new Quiet Place coming out that just got trailer released.
Yeah.
Anyways, underrated.
Yeah,
Underrated.
go for it.
Walter Moore.
Now enlighten me on. Oh, is this the Sorry, go ahead.
The 13 and a Half Lives of Captain Blueberry.
That book just delightful to me.
It is so good.
Yeah.
I can't believe I never read any of his books. Like everything about that book was great.
I so want to read it.
The writing was well done. There was humor. The story was fantastic.
It's like zany, but in the perfect way. There's some rolling elements. There's some Douglas Adams kind of vibes to it. Like,
Seems like a freewheeling fantasy, just crazy ideas all over the
yeah,
place.
like
Yeah.
why not have pterodactyls that can speak?
Yeah, here. That's what I say. Yeah.
Why not have a professor that has 5 brains and whose intelligence only grows as it gets darker?
Yeah, why
Yeah.
not?
This book sounds great.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Okay, Walter Moore.
The
And
the
then I
Gluttony
just-
Island.
Yeah, Gluttony Island.
Gluttony Island, where everything, it's like a big honeypot where everything tastes so good that you like
Yeah,
just
you can never
get
leave.
But then like
you can eat
you
anything
can eat
and everything
anything
tastes
and
so
everything,
good.
but like then the island kind of like
Consumes you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It fattens you up,
Yeah.
and then it just kind of
It
you're
turns
like
into like
laying
a-
in its tongue or
Yeah.
something, and then its like mouth just closes up.
What the what?
Yes.
Like a Venus
Okay,
flytrap.
It's like a
the
big
hell?
Sarlacc pit Venus flytrap
Yeah.
thing.
The whole
yeah.
island?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah.
This sounds so cool.
It's so good.
Wow, it's
So
like
good.
if Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory like ate you.
Yeah.
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 And that's just like a chapter of the book.
Yeah, that's just one of his lives.
He's got 13
One of
and
his
a half.
13 and a half.
Yeah.
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 And then he lives in a tornado for a while.
This tracks.
He
Lives
lives
in the
with
desert.
the tiny pirates.
Yeah, the tiny
little
pirates.
tiny pirate. They're like mini. They're like this big. They're little.
I think you guys should do a show just describing this book in your own words. What is the plot of this book? That would be great.
Yeah,
Sounds
that,
amazing.
I could do that.
Tiny pirates? What?
Yeah.
And I just started his
But you can't
second
call
book.
them tiny.
Oh, okay.
They get upset.
Yeah.
They
Sorry,
get upset.
sorry, pirates.
I just started
Very
his
small
second
pirates.
book, Rumo.
I saw that on your shelf.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that good?
So far, it's great.
Same kind of vibe?
Yeah.
The five brain professor is back.
So all of his books take place in this world he created called Zamonia.
Okay.
And like none of the books are really connected. Like the characters in each book aren't connected,
Sure.
but
Similar location.
But they happen.
It's-
They
it's
all
all-
happen like in that world.
yeah, it all happens in the same world. And Zamonia is like basically the 8th continent of the world.
Okay.
So it's supposed to be like on Earth,
Sure.
but this is like this weird,
A zany
eighth
Earth where there's a new
place.
continent.
yeah,
Fantastical things.
exactly.
Okay. This
And it's-
sounds amazing.
Where the rules don't matter and the points don't mean anything.
What was the? Oh yeah, there's a giant. Like I forget what they're called, but it's this giant being that like took off his head, and his heads are like they're so tall they're like out of Earth's atmosphere.
Okay. So he has to take his
And-
head off to breathe.
Yeah, it was something like that. I can't remember why. I just remember
Like,
this
Blue
is in
Bear had
Romo?
to. No, this
Oh,
is in
okay.
Captain Blue Bear because Captain Blue Bear had to actually like trek through the head of this giant, and there's his body just kind of wanders the earth trying to find the head.
This book just sounds like a Frankenstein's monster of what idea can I just jam in here?
It is, but it's
But it
But in the
works.
best way, in the
But
best
yeah,
possible way.
and it just
Yeah.
flows so well. It was so good.
he's like a wizard because none of this sounds like it would make sense or be good just thrown
I
in
mean,
a
it
book.
kind of sounds like trying to describe Doom.
Yeah, kind of. But it's done so well.
It's really
He
so
does a
well
great job.
Walter Moore.
Walter Moore.
Yep.
Well,
Underrated.
I'll shoot my shot for underrated author.
All
I'm
right.
gonna go with Colson Whitehead. So he wrote a great book called The Intuitionist,
Okay.
and I first read it in college, and I was so enamored with it that I picked up a copy. Really interesting book about elevator inspectors.
Okay.
What?
I know you're thinking, tell me more. But it's really cool. It goes into different. It's really about mental processes and different ways to approach problem solving. So in the book, there are the empiricists and the intuitionists, two different factions of elevator inspectors. The empiricists are like, we have to analyze the elevator from the outside in. You know, the scientific
What?
method
Yeah.
in action here.
Yep.
And the intuitionists are all about, you know, feeling the emotions of the elevator. And there are these amazing.
Yeah, you can get into that elevator. I'm gonna go with the imperialist. Okay.
No, it's so cool.
You put your life into spirit of the elevator. I'll stick with science. Thank you.
But no, it's great. There are whole passages in this book of the main character. I believe her name is Lila. Apologies if I got that wrong. And so she's an intuitionist, and there's a great passage early in the book that really hooked me. She's looking at the elevator. She's like seeing through it like X-ray vision. And then she starts seeing all these shapes just like entering her brain, like green triangles, like cascading. And I'm just like, I'm tripping right now reading this book.
Where will you be when the acid kicks in?
Will you be up or down? You know, where is this elevator gonna drop you off? But it really, all that is really just a metaphor for different problem solving techniques And the book is also about race relations, so kind of draws a metaphor between the dueling factions of elevator inspectors and the dueling perspective on race in America. And I first read it in my racial relations class in college, and I just think it's overall a book I would recommend to everybody, just because it's really interesting. You get a lot of mentally infused passages on just the inner workings of the mind. I just find that stuff really...
No, I agree.
And let me guess, everybody figures out that you can't have just intuitionists and just
empiricists. Yeah, you have to have a mix of both. Yeah.
I feel like when you're building an elevator, though, like you could probably have just physics does a lot there.
You have to read it.
Physics is important, but so is comfort.
You have to consider the inanimate
It's
objects.
an elevator.
People are
standing in a
claustrophobic.
box.
That is true. That is true.
Show me one elevator that is not like a claustrophobia trap. Take the stairs then.
What about the great glass elevator in Willy Wonka?
I can't do that.
Actually, that would be a little...
I can't do that.
Vertigo.
No.
I was gonna say that's claustrophobia,
sorry.
vertigo.
Yeah, that's actually worse. Sorry.
That's worse. I can't watch myself being launched thousands of feet into the air. No.
Yeah, poor kid, man.
It is made of glass.
Yeah, poor Charlie.
I don't feel safe in there.
Right.
Made of glass.
Child in danger, man.
What happens when glass gets really, really, really cold?
No.
And then plummets back down to Earth. It gets really, really, really hot, really fast. I'm just saying.
I didn't see the new Wonka film.
I didn't either.
So maybe they have new lore about stuff,
the
but
science of the glass elevator.
Sure, or anything, but okay. The Intuitionist by Colson Whitehead. Great book. An underrated author.
I might give it a try.
It does sound interesting.
Yeah.
I would read that.
He has a number of other books, and I've read I haven't read all of his work. There's a really great book he wrote called Zone 1, and it's a zombie. So it's like a zombie invasion, but told through the perspective of like the last guy in Zone 1, which was like outbreak, whatever, 0.
Patient 0.
What am I talking
Patient
about?
0.
Yeah. And he's just roaming the abandoned New York City, reflecting on how society has come to this point. So there's not much in the way of zombie
kind of like
action.
I Am Legend.
Kind of like I Am
bit.
Legend. Yeah. Not so much in the way of zombie action, but more like
I'm hard pressed to get into zombie literature.
This might be a good one for you then, because it's not really.
I'm a little bit zombied out.
That's what I mean. I'm just like.
But like you
That's
said, it's
fair.
not really about zombies.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but that is fair. There's so many zombies in pop culture.
Zombie had like its moment with
Zombieland.
Zombieland and
I was
the
gonna say
Walking.
Dawn of the Dead. Oh, Walking Dead. Yeah.
I always call it like the Walking Dead era.
Yeah.
Because you had all the video games were zombies, all the shows were zombies, a bunch of books.
Zombieland. World War
World
Z.
War Z.
World War Z.
Pride and Prejudice and zombies.
Right.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
It was just zombies were mainstream for a hot minute
They
there.
were in your face for a while.
The Dawn of the Dead remake, made when we were teenagers.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yep.
still that movie slaps.
I will
it's
say
so
though,
good.
love the evil.
Did you see the new one?
Dawn of the Dead
I
for
liked
me.
it.
Was it good?
Yeah,
All right,
I thought it was
all right.
good.
I mean, but that's one that I'd be like, I'd watch that.
Yeah,
I would
right.
watch that because I like the Evil Dead. They're great. They're camp
Oh,
as
yeah.
shit.
I love
They're
it.
great.
Yeah, I recently rewatched Army of Darkness.
Mm,
Cracking up,
my
dying
God.
laughing. I mean, that
It's-
movie is just an entertainment.
balls
Just-
to the wall.
Oh
just
my God,
ridiculousness.
It's
Yeah.
just ridiculous.
They don't make them like they used to.
Mm.
So,
All right.
You had an underrated. I had an
I was-
underrated.
I'm gonna go to Overrated.
Oh, okay.
Frickin' Patterson.
James Patterson.
James Patterson.
James Patterson.
Even when he actually wrote his own stuff.
It still was garbage.
Like, yeah.
Ooh, shots fired.
He's garbage. He was garbage when he was writing his own books, and now he's slapping his name on other people's bad books.
I don't know how he got so popular. Because he's like, I would argue even more popular than Stephen King. But like Stephen King stuff is still,
He still writes
For
a
the
good
most
story.
part,
Yeah,
he
he
does
writes a
good
good
job
story.
still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't put Stephen King as like one of the greatest writers of all time, but
But for the level of consistency, that's really
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, he's consistently written good books.
And his
Yeah.
work
For a
ethic is
long
crazy.
time.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't think James Patterson have a
and
similar
James
work
Patterson,
ethic?
I never
No,
found
James
a
Patterson wants
book
to
that
be
I liked.
racist on TV time and complain about how hard it is to be a rich old white man. He said something.
His books though were just.
He said something the other day, like not the other day. It was a little while ago, but he said something about how like old white dudes really are the best writers.
Just a really tone-deaf
well, if he's an
statement.
example, then no.
No.
Yeah, right. If he's the example, then no. Yeah.
He just sucks. I don't know why he's so popular. I don't know why people buy his. Like, who reads them? Who reads those books?
My grandma used to.
Old ladies.
That's actually where I
What would
read
we
a couple
say
of his books. I grabbed it off the shelf.
franchise? Like, what's he known
Alex
for?
Cross.
Okay, Alex Cross. I was trying to think of his name. Alex Cross. I had never read him.
I read a couple of his books when I was like maybe 15, 16, and like those were some of the first books where I got like a quarter of the way through and I kind of predicted everything.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, this is gonna happen. This person did it. And
My one experience with Patterson is the Maximum Ride books. Did
Oh,
you guys
okay.
ever read them?
Yep. I know what they are. I didn't read
And
them.
I mean, I had to have been like 14, 15 when I read. I liked the first one as just fine,
A standalone.
fine young adult fantasy,
Right.
whatever. Typical tropes. We got the kids with wings who were experiments. They broke out. They're gonna seek revenge. All this stuff.
Right.
But the books got a lot worse as they went on. And I
Shocker.
remember thinking that by the end of the third one, they debuted the ultimate villain, whatever.
Yeah.
I think his name was literally Omni.
Ew.
That's fine, but it
That's
just wasn't
lazy.
interesting. It was kind of, and but when they finally got to Omni, I'm like, I don't even care about the characters anymore. I hope
Yeah.
they lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope they lose to
let's
Omni.
go Omni.
Yeah, like let's go.
Let's go.
Right. So yeah, I guess I would concur for the most part on.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%.
I was gonna save him for later. I had to get it off my chest
enough.
though.
Yeah. You feel better?
I do
Okay,
feel
good.
better. It's every time we go to the store, because it doesn't matter what store you go into.
His books are there.
His books are there. And
Yeah.
I just like, they're always on the shelf. I'm like, no one's even buying them. Like, it's always full of his books.
Yeah.
How is he so popular?
Like
But
Danielle Steele.
Another author who's everywhere every year.
All the time. Danielle Steele.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
is she a romance writer
For the
or
most
something?
part.
She is the romance writer.
Is she the one that always has like a picture of a cowboy on her cover?
No, hers.
No?
No, hers are like always really nice hardbacks with big gold lettering and like her freaking logo on the spine because she's Danielle Steele. Whatever. She's like smut romance, but like highbrow smut romance. It's like a step above like Harlequin, but it's all the same thing.
And often set in like historical fiction contexts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Historical fiction.
Which that's a big genre. Historical fiction.
Historical
anyway.
fiction romances, but then she does a lot of modern day ones, but they're
Okay.
very much like read it on the beach while your husband is doing whatever.
Or
and-
buy it on the plane and read it
yeah,
on the plane.
Yeah, and they're just, it's the same story over and over.
I mean, I guess if you can get away with it.
I think she, unlike Patterson though, like I think she writes her books. Like I think she writes her
Oh,
books.
I guess, okay. So she's a little bit better.
She's overrated, but she is a step above him. My God, does that woman? She has an empire. Danielle Steele.
Patterson does too. He doesn't even write his books
Yeah, he
anymore. He
doesn't.
just pays people to write his
But
books.
I think like she still writes her books.
as
She's
far as you know.
It's a good comparison. They're both so prolific, but
and they're on
are
every
they any
bookshelf.
good? Are they any good? Yeah.
They are on every single bookshelf. In any store, anywhere. You'll always see Danielle Steele. Everywhere.
I'm gonna have to keep an eye. Now that you said it, I'm gonna see your books everywhere. I never really pay attention.
You'll see
Like
'em.
romance is
You will.
one of those books where all of them kind of feel the same to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, a few years ago, I asked my mom what she wanted for Christmas. Danielle Steele, the latest Danielle Steele novel. I remember I walked into Barnes & Noble and boom, just I mean,
Right on the front.
wall to wall.
Yep. Right. It's always
Whatever
on the front,
the newest
too.
one. I think it was about like airline pilots or something. I can't even
Yep.
remember.
Something. It's not always historical.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's an office. Sometimes it's an airline. Sometimes it's corporate this. Sometimes we're on a ranch. Sometimes it's politics.
But every time, it's
A man loves a woman. and there's lots of explicit detail about that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'm gonna throw a crowd pleaser in there for underrated.
Okay.
Okay.
Terry Pratchett.
Hell yeah.
Underrated.
Underrated.
I don't
Hell
know how
yeah.
his name isn't. I mean, obviously everyone loves Terry Pratchett, right? But he should be.
How is he not like Stephen King, household name?
And now that we're in what year is it? I just feel like people should know about Terry.
No more people should know than
yeah.
do. He's like an underground.
Yeah, I remember being
like he's popular, but
I think you even gave me your copy of The Color of Magic back in the day, the first Discworld book, or maybe it was someone else at school.
I don't know if it was me.
Maybe
somebody
did.
I was always on and on about On a Pale Horse.
Was that your favorite?
I love that one.
Okay,
such a good one.
But all the Discworld books, and kind of like with Zimonia from, it's like one shared environment, but you don't need to read all the books. They're all kind of standalone.
I think the only ones that
shows up here and there.
Is it like, you get little glimpses of like, here's this place from this other book, or he runs
character,
into
the luggage?
Grimes.
Oh, I can't remember Grimes.
Vimes. Sam Vimes. Oh my god.
I
the
can't
detective.
think of him right now. Oh, okay.
Like he's in like a few books.
Sure, yeah. I always loved the luggage.
Yeah.
There's literally a walking suit.
Yeah.
That's like, don't go near.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's like.
That's weird.
It is weird.
Wait, how do you get your luggage?
What?
How do you get your luggage?
These are one of many questions.
You stroke the spine?
Yeah, right, exactly. It's the monster book of luggage.
No, Terry
The
Pratchett.
beastly box of luggage.
Right, exactly. Living luggage.
The living leviathan of leggings.
Of luggings.
But does it have pockets?
The leather-bound
luggage.
Leviathan lugging.
No, I would agree. I think Terry Pratchett deserves more accolades than he has gotten.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I know he's very well loved.
Was
so
brilliant.
It's kind of a shot for underrated, but he's just great. I always want praises.
Mm-hmm. I'll throw out an underrated author. And this channel helped me find her. Ursula Le Guin.
Ayo.
Yeah, I actually can thank Noelle for helping us find that. Yeah, she's really underrated.
She's a brilliant writer.
Yeah,
she's a brilliant writer.
I'll never forget that because it was a slow,
a perfect one actually.
Unlike Hemingway, she says so much with so little, but also tells a compelling story. Whereas Hemingway does not do that. And I remember when I started reading that book, I was like, I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I hated it 3/4 of the way through. And then I got to the end and I read it and I was like, Jesus Christ, that was a good book. that was brilliant.
The Shadow.
Yeah.
Ged's Shadow. It's so cool.
This is why you got to see things through to the end sometimes.
Tell me about it. The Fourth Wing.
You know, why don't we just bring that up now? Rebecca.
So, everyone, I'm reading. Let me know, those of you who are watching this right now, have any of you read a book called Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros?
We'll put her on Overrated.
Because I am reading it for the channel right now. Because one of our subscribers suggested that I read and review it. So do any of you know what I'm talking about?
I had never heard of it, but I'm kind of out of the loop.
I always saw it right next to Patterson's books.
What, stocked in the BS shelf? No.
Yeah.
Someone said.
I think that's the person that recommended the book to me, actually.
Uh-oh.
I'm almost halfway through it.
Before she says anything, I want to thank you all for being here and supporting the channel because we're about to get canceled. I'll never forget any of you.
Yeah. These were the good old days.
I had it so much. And I'm going to say Rebecca Yarros is extremely overrated because this woman has written 15 other books and she still doesn't know how to write. You've done it 15 times and you still don't know what you're doing. How is this possible?
We were saying, we were kind of talking about our, creative endeavors, and just I was reading some passages from this Fourth Wing book. We all kind of agreed we should write a book because we can. If she can do it, we can do it.
Yeah. Well, you're halfway there.
I'm halfway there.
That being said, I haven't finished it, but it's not looking good, people.
Maybe you'll be Le Guin. Maybe you'll hate it, and at the end you're like, I understand now.
But I didn't ever say I didn't think Le Guin couldn't write.
Yeah. Okay. Different accusation.
I could tell Le Guin could write. I just wasn't feeling the story until the end. This, I'm like, I hate everything about this right now. And the more of it I read, the more I hate it.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely read that passage that you read a passage to me.
The description of the guy. Oh my god.
And then I got morbidly curious and started leafing through it, and then I read some to you, and we were all cringing together. We'll see. I hate to hate on people like this.
I'm not gonna talk anymore about it until I finish the book. Y'all will see what I have to say when I do the review.
But as of right now, she's overrated.
As of right now, she overrated.
Final consensus pending. Or maybe not.
Okay.
Or maybe not.
But Ursula Le Guin, definitely underrated.
I like the edginess of books like Fourth Wing. Writing gets in the way. You read Jacqueline Carey. I have never read Jacqueline Carey, but I know who she is.
Yeah, and I like this comment about the edginess. I mean, we were kind of talking about that. It's okay to be edgy, but it's got to have some verve to it when you're reading it. You know, you got to be into it. It's got to be compelling.
Yeah.
I think I mean, I haven't read it yet. I've just gone off what you've shared with me. But it isn't the edginess that really gets me. It's the fact that she claims to be writing a fantasy novel, and then it kind of...
It doesn't fantasy?
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't fantasy.
Yeah, it's more modern with just dragons.
I forgot to tell you the best part. I didn't even tell you the best part.
Okay.
The dragons.
I'm ready. Okay.
When they talk about bonding them, they say a blue, a green, an orange, a red. And then they're
like Dr. Seuss? No, I'm just kidding.
One dragon, two dragon, two dragon, red dragon, blue dragon.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Go on.
But then they're all differentiated by their tails. So, red sword tail, orange dagger tail, and wait for it, golden feather tail. Wait. And the biggest, baddest black dragon is a morning star tail.
Oh my god. Wait. Okay. Yeah. All right. I got a freaking morning star on my tail, bitch. Sorry, that was inappropriate. But it's just I'll put a morning star on my tail.
But then people want to come at J.K. Rowling for coming up with Hungarian horntail, Swedish short snout.
What if one loses its tail? Then what do you call it?
It's just
an orange
nubby buddy.
Right.
I love that we just said the exact same thing.
Yeah, but you could even if you had that, you could duct tape a dirk on there or something. You know what I mean?
Okay, no more.
Okay.
Review forthcoming. I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. But yeah, no, I have not read Jacqueline Carey, but I know who she is. Okay. Someone else go before I rant about this book anymore.
Overrated. Dr. Seuss. You get it. You can rhyme. I'm just kidding. I don't think he's overrated.
We get it. You can rhyme. Yeah. Somewhere a bunch of 4th graders and 3rd graders going, no, he's my favorite. Yeah. Yeah, Dr. Seuss is fine. He had some different stuff. I mean, I still remember the Butter Battle book. Do you remember that one?
The Bitter Butter Battle book.
Is that what it was?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and it was
Butter Battle
the
book.
Battle of the Butter.
Yep.
And it was basically
I'm
like
just
a
thinking
war
of,
allegory.
Fox and Socks.
Fox and Socks.
Because it's
That's the tongue twister book.
Beetle battle.
The Beetle Battle.
Beetle battle.
Yeah, the
Beetle battle in a puddle, muddle, fuddle, battle.
in a
or
bottle.
something
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
That should be like a challenge. We should do that one of these days.
Melanie said she liked it if I ran the zoo when she was little.
I like that one. That rings a bell. I don't remember it that
That's
much.
a good one.
Yeah. Just to be clear, I was kidding when I said Dr. Seuss was overrated. I think he's a great author. and he's right
One
where
of
he
the
should
greatest
be.
of all time.
I mean, Oh, the Places You Go is probably one of the most
Actually,
brilliant things written.
And actually,
Yeah.
probably one of the most best-selling books. I mean, it's every graduation present.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, it was his graduation present to his kid.
Yeah.
We should
I
do
also
that as
have
a challenge, though.
I also have a book of Dr. Seuss's political cartoons.
Yeah, that's okay. I'd be interested to look at.
They're very funny, some of them, but they didn't age well. Particularly how he draws the Japanese. Ooh, it was very problematic.
Well, yeah, there was that one book that got.
But it's also from the
redone.
1940s. So
There's that one book that got taken off shelves and redone. I can't remember what it was, but there was like a depiction of an Asian person. It was very racist.
yeah. These cartoons are like that. These political cartoons are like not. I mean, some of them are very funny. Some of them are very much propaganda. You look at them through the lens of World War II history, but yeah, he was not kind to the Japanese.
We'll just say it was a different time.
Someone said when he was a camp counselor, he wrote,
Kendall, that is Kendall. When she was a camp counselor, they read their kids the Lorax every week.
Oh,
That is the Lorax was one of my favorites.
He does speak for the
"Speak for
trees.
Fucking Onceler, what a douche.
Mona loves that book too. I don't know if she's read
Capitalist.
the book, but she likes
Was
the
that the
movie.
Bastard.
Truffula trees?
Yeah,
one? Yeah,
the
yeah,
Truffula trees.
Do a Hyperion crossover.
Oh my god, the
Tesla trees.
1960s Grinch cartoon? Yeah, absolutely. The Grinch, it's great.
Yeah, Grinch is great. Can't argue with.
I've never met a Grinch I didn't like. I like the book. I love the old cartoon movie.
Jim
I
Carrey
love the
movie.
Jim Carrey one. I even like the new. Is it Pixar or DreamWorks that did it?
I believe it was Illumination.
Yeah, so
Illumination.
yeah, DreamWorks. No, yeah, Illumination.
Illumination.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
That was
right?
good.
Yeah,
I like that.
That was
I thought
good.
it was pretty good.
It didn't follow the story at all, but
It was a
Maybe
solid
that,
flick.
but maybe that was
yeah.
not trying to like redo.
The Jim Carrey one is probably the standard bearer. So
And that movie is like not good.
It's-
but it's good.
it's
but
re-
it's not good.
I hear you. Here,
You know what I mean?
It's like it's like a you can't look away. It's like a train wreck. It's like not a bad way. It's just like grotesque. Remember when he's like stuffing all that food into his face?
Am I eating because
Right.
I'm bored?
Right.
Like
Right. My heart shrunk 3 sizes, and this time I'll keep it off.
Max, grab me my cloak.
I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot.
You're
You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
He's like, what? Yeah, that was bad but good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Whoville stuff, like some of that was like a little
Yeah.
not much.
The swinger party.
Oh my god, with the keys. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
And Jeffrey Tambor is the mayor of Whoville.
Oh my god, yeah. Ron Howard's brother, his assistant.
It was like all terrible, but in the best way.
Yeah. That movie was a big chunk of my childhood.
100%.
So we've gone on a Dr. Seuss tangent. We should pull it back.
Sorry, I did that.
Why don't you throw out the overrated author that you were talking to me about the other day? And you said, let's see what Noelle thinks about this, and let's see how many people I'm going to piss off if I say it.
This actually scares me.
Well,
So-
you said it to me, you can say it to the people.
All right, fine, I'll say it.
Who's overrated?
But you gotta let me finish first.
I'm gonna let you finish.
Beyonce.
All right. Close that curtain. Someone's gonna show up and assassinate me. All right. Tolkien.
This is
now. Don't get me wrong. Yeah.
Shots fired.
Okay.
Shots fired.
So the reason why I think he's overrated is not because he's a bad writer. That Lord of the Rings isn't fantastic, or The Hobbit. I think they're all great, but his fandom is crazy.
Okay.
I think he is probably top 5 best writers of all time, and probably the best fantasy writer of all time. But the pedestal that people put him on, he is a god. Like, just by how much people revere him, I think he's overrated.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone could live up to the level that a lot of people
put Tolkien
think of
on.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, and it also does a disservice to him if he's that exalted, because then people will be too intimidated to actually read. I'll just say, well, if he's, I'll just watch the movie. You know what I mean? Like, his book should be read.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, I think they're great books, but I hate it when like you're talking to a Tolkien fan, because it's either you like the books and they're like, yeah, of course you do, it's Tolkien,
It's
you
good.
love it, or you say, I don't like it. Well, that's because you're dumb and you don't understand it. Like, those
Yeah.
are the only answers.
Yeah. You can't. If you're talking to someone who's a big Lord of the Rings fan and holds Tolkien to that esteem, and you say, well, I read the books and they weren't for me, they'll just be like, you're too stupid to read the books. Whereas from my perspective, having read all of those books, having read the Silmarillion and loved all of it so much, if someone came to me and said I just couldn't get into it, I'd be like, all right, fair enough, they're not for everybody. And to a certain extent, like, I do think Lord of the Rings is hard to get into for a lot of people. Like, they're dense, they're language heavy. He talks about trees for like 20 pages sometimes. Like, there is a lot of stuff in there that people are just going to be like, I cannot do this. And it's not bad, but the fandom is absolutely rabid and insane.
Yeah. I mean, I did like the books. It was just, it's not about the quality of his work or him himself, but just
The fan base around it.
The cult of
how high
personality.
he's rated. That makes him overrated.
The godliness of him.
Yeah.
I think that's a decent point. When
That's
you're
a fair
saying,
assessment.
you know, if we're saying, oh, Shakespeare, you know, Byron, Tolkien. Well, now we're that way, you know, putting him in these esteemed company.
Yeah. I might even put him
No,
up
I
there
think
with
I would put
Shakespeare.
him up there with
Oh, okay.
Shakespeare
I'm
or whatever.
misinterpreting.
I think it's more of the opinion that from
He's not
the
he's
Uber
just-
fans' perspective, that
Oh,
if you
Oh,
didn't
okay.
like it or you're not into it,
Then there's something wrong with
there's
you.
something wrong with you. You must be stupid, because how do you not recognize the genius of Tolkien?
Yeah.
And
I'm
that's
saying,
the
I think-
problem.
Yeah, I think he's up there as one of, like I said, probably the greatest fantasy writer. The only person I put next to him is Martin, and the only reason I would never say Martin is with him is just because Martin hasn't finished A Song of Ice and
Kind
Fire.
of got to finish your series first.
Yeah.
And stop watching football.
'Cause
Yep.
he's the only other person
Yeah.
that I've ever seen who built such a world
Incredible.
that felt
yeah.
lived in
Incredible.
as Tolkien did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think he's overrated because he's not the alpha and the omega that so many people make him out to be.
Yeah, and I think you raised a good point that fandom, our current era of proliferation of opinions, can get toxic real quick.
Oh my god, fandom
Yeah.
is...
It doesn't matter what the property is.
Yeah, it can make you like really sour on something you really liked because
Totally.
everyone else is just toxic about it, or rips
Yeah.
your head off because you say one thing that they don't like. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's an issue. That's why I say what the hell I want to about Harry Potter, and I don't give an F. Don't care.
But yeah, that's
First Child's not canon. Heard it here first. Fantastic Beasts sucks.
Yeah, and I have similar vitriol for the Star Wars franchise these days,
God.
and
Oh my God.
I completely have been done with Star Wars for a while. And
I feel like
we've talked about this.
The Star Wars community is just a train wreck
and I think that's a far more toxic community than the Lord of the Rings fan. Maybe I'm off base.
I think the Lord of the Rings fandom is elitist in a way.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Whereas the Star Wars fandom is just, I think, full of a lot of really angry, disappointed, upset people.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That really want to take it out on anyone who says, I really liked The Last Jedi.
Exactly.
We don't talk about any Star Wars after the Clone Wars.
Yeah, that's where
That's
I'm
not
at.
canon.
Yeah, it's not canon.
Yeah, I decided.
I don't know. Mando's canon. Mando's canon.
Mando was great. Mando was great.
Mando was the last good thing. That franchise.
Wasn't
my opinion.
Last season, I
think they're doing another one.
Are they?
Well, they greenlit a film, so that's happening. Mandalorian and Grogu.
I'm okay with that.
Coming to theaters 2026.
Directed by Taika Waititi. Just kidding. That'd be great, though.
I think Favreau's doing it.
Okay, I'm behind that.
So for that, it'll probably be good.
I mean, he spearheaded the show,
right?
So.
Yeah.
To me, he would have saved Star Wars if everything else wasn't absolute wreck. I hate it. I'll stop.
You want to watch a good sci-fi show? Watch Farscape.
Or The Expanse.
No, Farscape.
The Expanse is dope.
No, Farscape is the show. I understand what you're saying about The Expanse, but Farscape is on a different level and another spectrum.
That author, the writer of those books, underrated.
100%.
Oh my God, James A. Corey, which I believe is 2.
Is it?
Yeah. No, that's their joint pen name.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
It's so good.
I love that.
And I was gonna say it's different because like Farscape is straight up sci-fi
with comedic elements.
With The Expanse
and Australia.
With The Expanse, it's more science than fiction. Like everything has basis in like scientific understanding.
This is why this man's favorite sci-fi book is like The Martian and Project Hail Mary.
I was gonna say it's Hail Mary.
But Expanse is great because it has a great tone. It has the same perfect tone established throughout the show of just we are surviving in space. It's not a laugh track type of show.
Like Avenue 9?
I actually love that.
It's such a funny show, right? I love that show.
You guys showed me that. I was dying.
That show was so great.
Oh my God, I was dying. But yeah, Expanse author, underrated. Tolkien fandom, overrated.
100%. Yeah, and another reason The Expanse author is underrated is just how much knowledge has to go into everything because it is all like scientifically backed.
Yeah.
Like I remember,
I can appreciate that.
I only read Leviathan Wakes first, I believe, of the series. There's every book is a Goliath, all of them, but Leviathan Wakes is so good. Is
that the name of the ship?
Read it.
I don't remember, but it's the name of the first book, I believe. I could have that wrong. Apologies. But
why is it called Leviathan? Is that the class of the ship?
I don't remember.
Oh, geez.
I've only watched the first season.
It's a good show.
Because that's what Moira is in Farscape. She's a Leviathan.
Oh, okay.
Is another word for whale.
Yeah.
I have an underrated author.
Moira
Farscape is great.
Moira is also alive and gives birth.
Congratulations.
I'm just saying, Farscape's fucking wild and it's great.
Never said it was bad. We can like our own show.
I might like The Expanse. I probably would like The Expanse. I'm not shitting on The Expanse. Just plugging Farscape. Underrated sci-fi TV show. Not an author, but underrated sci-fi show. One of my all-time favorites.
Fair enough.
I think
okay, are we on overrated or underrated now?
I have 3 sci-fi shows I think that are my all-time favorites.
Go on.
Farscape.
Okay, but we're talking about...
I know, but I gotta get this out. Farscape. Star Trek, the original series. Mm-hmm. Firefly.
Firefly is amazing.
Firefly was a good show. And Serenity. Hit the movie they made.
Take my gun.
I'll be right back.
All right. Was it? I think you need to do a.
Oh, maybe I'll come back and
Okay.
I think you need to do an underrated or an overrated.
I need to do an overrated author.
No, underrated.
Underrated
I
author.
just did overrated.
Okay. Last one I did was Ursula Le Guin, right?
Yeah.
Underrated writer. Joe Walsh.
What'd he write? I never heard of him.
She wrote.
Oh.
Or no. Joe Walton. My bad. Tooth and Claw.
Oh.
Love that book. I've mentioned this book multiple times.
But isn't that like a... There's no real, like... Isn't it like a textbook?
No.
No? Oh, okay. Never
It's
mind.
essentially Pride and Prejudice, but the characters are dragons.
Oh, okay. You were just pointing over there.
I know
all those books.
I
are
know
like
all my
your-
science book, all my zoology books are
Yeah.
over there. I know.
All your...
There's a lot of
why it
cat
threw me
books
off.
over there. A lot of cats and reptiles over there.
Mhm.
No, it's pretty much Pride and Prejudice, but with dragons, and it's amazing, and it's so good. And even if you don't like romance, you'd probably still like it. It's freaking awesome. Joe Walton,
Go Walton. Tooth and Claw.
Tooth and Claw. Read that book, everyone. So good.
I never really got into Pride and Prejudice, though.
Well, we
Like,
never
what's so different about
we
it?
never finished Pride and
No, we
Prejudice.
didn't. What's so different about it?
It's dragons.
I mean, yeah, but...
There's not much
But-
different. It's dragons.
Oh, okay. I feel like that novelty would wear off.
It
after a
doesn't.
while, though.
Like, the world is different. Like when a female dragon is coming out,
Coming out,
like when girls used to come out to a ball or whatever, it'd be like their first presentation. No, not like coming out.
Like a
Okay.
debutante.
Yeah, I thought you meant like coming out of the closet
No.
and like...
Debutante, yeah. When female dragons come out, they have to be really careful not to touch another male, because if they are attracted to that other male, they'll like turn their true color, and then they're like spoiled. No one wants them. They have to remain like virgin pink to be desirable. So there's like little world building things like that. Like when an heir, or when the head of the family, the head dragon dies, all of the family members come and eat him. And by eating the head dragon, they grow bigger and stronger. So there's like little elements.
Okay.
But like she even does
Pride
little
and Prejudice with cannibalism.
But she even does things like when she talks about this stuff, like she mentions like the little like divots cut into the stone in the floor so that while they're eating, the blood drips into the little rivulets and runs to a drain in the corner of the room, and blah, 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 so that there's not a mess. And just little details like that to make the world feel
Lived in.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Tooth and claw.
Everyone needs a floor fuller for the blood.
Yeah. Gotta have that. Gotta have a drainage system.
Yeah.
Why are you... My question is, why are you letting it go to waste? That's good blood. That's a lot of power there.
No,
What are
it's
you
just the
doing?
mess. It's just the drip while you're eating the rest. Because it's gonna drip.
What are you gonna wash it down with? You gotta collect the blood, you know.
They're not
I've watched
Vikings.
Vikings. I know how this
they're
is.
not
No,
vampire
I've watched
dragons.
Vikings though. That's how it goes.
They're Vikings. They're not dragons.
Well, these dragons will never be Vikings with the way they're going.
They don't want to be Vikings. They want to be dragons.
These dragons will never
Vikings
be.
are cool.
You gotta toughen up and read your Nordic.
Yeah, that's my underrated.
You know, I'll do someone that I think is underrated. They're not quite as underrated as a lot of the other ones, but honestly, Neil Gaiman.
I
Yeah.
love Neil Gaiman.
Yeah,
It's hard to argue with.
He's
him.
awesome. He's
Yeah.
awesome.
Really,
It just kind of
imaginative.
came into my head thinking about Norse
Well,
mythology.
I
but-
thought about him when we were talking about Terry Pratchett, because they kind of live in the same neighborhood sometimes with the things that they write.
Plus, Good Omens.
Yeah,
Co-wrote that.
Yeah.
Yep. I love
Like,
that book.
love that book too. So good, so
And
funny.
I'm a big fan of Neverwhere, and I'm also a huge fan of American Gods, which is an amazing book.
Yeah,
I love that book.
That's one that's like
all of his books are just so
been
good.
on my to read list. I just
I
haven't.
think you would absolutely adore
Pro-
it.
probably, yeah.
No, it's
American
and
Gods, yeah.
You've read it, right?
Which one?
American Gods.
Yeah.
Yeah, the twist in that we shouldn't say.
Don't say it, because I am going to read that one.
The ocean at the end of the lane that you gave me.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
It's so good, isn't it?
It was so great.
That was recommended to me years ago by a friend, and I had to share it. I had to pass it all.
There's a book I want to read.
And it's short, too. Not a hard read at all.
Yeah, I actually wrote it on the plane when we went on our trip. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I think you told me that. Okay, nice.
It was like the perfect book.
Oh, you can read it in a single day.
Yeah.
And it's really good. I'm glad you liked it.
Oh, I loved it. Like, Neil Gaiman, the thing about him is I don't think he's like this...
I just thought of an underrated writer.
He's not like a super fantastic writer in his writing style, but he's just so creative.
His imagination is...
Yeah,
it's the stories.
So different. The stories are so creative.
The characters leap off the page.
Yeah. It's his imagination that makes him... Yeah.
Also a prolific comic book writer.
Yep.
He did a lot with Miracle Man back in the 80s. I believe an Alan Moore character that was handed off to him.
He ran with it.
Miracle Man is legendary in comics.
Mm-hmm. But he's just one of those writers where you can go down his list and like never feel like you're reading a similar book.
Yeah.
We were talking about like your romance writer that
Danielle Steele.
Yeah. Where all of her books are the same, or even Patterson,
They're all the same thing.
Yeah.
And with him, they're all different. You never know. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I think he's underrated. As I feel like he doesn't get enough credit for what he created and what he gave to us. No, it's
you're building up to it. Okay.
Because it was such a big thing, and I absolutely love it, and it's one of my favorite things of all time, and a lot of other people really like it, but then I think we all forget that that's where it came from.
Just our drum roll.
Michael Crichton.
I don't know if he's underrated.
I think he's a little underrated. Jurassic Park? I think he's overshadowed by Jurassic Park.
That's a decent argument to make.
Maybe.
But I think he has a lot of claim for his work. I mean, I love Michael Crichton. I love Michael Crichton.
Yeah, I do too.
Maybe I'm not saying he's underrated, but I think he's eclipsed by Jurassic Park.
Maybe in the Terry Pratchett camp of like everyone, we all know we love him, but he needs more credit. Maybe
something like that. Okay. Yeah, like he's.
More people need to know that it was Michael Crichton that wrote Jurassic Park.
Right, like this is where Jurassic Park came from.
Not Steven Spielberg.
Right, it's not Steven Spielberg.
Did a great job directing that.
Well, absolutely, one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah, but it came from Michael Crichton's brain.
Yeah.
And another great thing about Crichton, similar to our
then you also have like Timeline and
Timeline is great. Prey freaked me out. Prey was the one that freaked me out. Okay, nanorobots are the scariest thing in the fucking world. All right, but they are. If you're a small robot, I'm gonna kill you.
How do we feel about
because I'm too scared. Yeah.
How do we feel about Dean Koontz?
I like Dean Koontz.
Is he underrated?
Yes.
I think so too.
Absolutely.
People call him a second-rate Stephen King, and I don't.
That's just a cheap marketing thing. Like, he's a really good writer in his own right. I mean, you years ago told me to read Fear Nothing, and that book's amazing. Everyone should read Fear Nothing.
Fear Nothing was so good, right?
Dean Koontz, and the sequel. I forgot the name
Seize
of it
the
right
Night.
now. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I love that book.
Yeah, so good.
And I read another one of I can't remember right now. Velocity.
Velocity's good.
And Intensity, are they similar?
No, Intensity is a standalone.
Okay, all right. Velocity was nuts. I was creeped out by that.
If you thought Velocity was nuts, read Intensity.
Okay.
That book is intense.
Okay. Yeah, right. And Velocity is very
very fast.
I like Velocitile. I'm going with that.
Melanie says that she considers Jurassic Park the scariest movie she ever saw.
That's a refreshing opinion to hear because that's how I felt when I first saw the movie. And since then, it's like been mythologized. We all love the dinosaurs, but it is a scary movie.
It was my favorite movie when I was a kid, except I would always have to fast forward through the scene where she goes to the generator room
and grabs the
Oh,
hand and
yeah.
grabs his arm.
I couldn't watch that.
The scene that
Fast forward.
the scene
It's
that,
horrifying.
Yeah.
When you think about it, like it's horrifying.
oh
When
my
she's
god,
like, "Oh,
staggers back with the
Mr.
arm.
Arnold," and then she's
No,
like,
the
"Ah!"
reveal is crazy.
Yeah.
The scene that I couldn't bear to watch is actually when the kid's climbing the electric fence.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, I was so scared that kid was gonna be barbecued. I mean, dang, like
That kind of goes hand in hand. I kind of fast forward through that because that was part of the scene where
It kinda
she-
was.
yeah,
It kinda was.
it does. It kind of works in tandem.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think Jurassic Park ever scared me. I just always remember just watching
Just
it like
marveling at it, like yeah, it's an astonishing film.
this is amazing. I love this. Everything that's happening is fantastic. This is great.
What's crazy is they even like left out some of the scarier scenes from the book.
Oh yeah, some of the scenes in the book are scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
I kind of want to read that again,
Um,
honestly.
There's I think I don't know if it's like scary, but like the most intense scene is in the kitchen.
That's one of the
Oh,
best
yeah.
scenes in that movie.
That was
like-
like on a borderline for me.
That is so hair trigger intense.
is.
It's
Brilliant
oh,
suspense.
yeah,
Brilliant
absolutely
filmmaking,
genius.
I mean, we all know
Spielberg's quite-
Spielberg is a genius,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that scene is incredible.
Mhm.
And what always gets me in that, and then we'll stop talking about Jurassic Park, maybe, is when they wind up clambering onto the dinosaur skeleton to
Yeah.
get away from the velociraptors.
Yeah.
It's a great just use of structure.
Yeah.
We're literally descending the bones of this
This
dead skeleton that we
Yeah.
reanimated. Like
Yeah.
this is Prometheus shit.
Yeah.
This is
oh
like,
yeah.
don't
The
play with
symbolism
fire.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just really cool. And then when the banner flickers down, like when dinosaurs roam the
While
earth,
while
it
she's
roars.
roaring. Yeah.
it's just like, come on, man.
Do you know
Such an
the
epic
Do you know the
scene.
meme?
We even have those two scenes back there.
Holy
Yeah.
balls,
Yeah.
dude!
Yeah, there
Oh
they
my
are.
God.
There they are.
Oh, cool. And
Go.
the Dino DNA.
Oh, I used
know
to
the-
love that scene, the Mr. DNA.
Dino DNA.
I love that.
Do you know the meme of the two guys arguing and then the one throws the chair
Yeah.
I'm sure I would recognize.
and it's like and they just go back and forth?
Oh
one
no!
throws
Now I
the
know what
chair.
you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just saw one earlier today. It was Jurassic Park, and it was Wu and Malcolm. All the dinosaurs are female. Life finds a way. Like they just go with the whole scene where they're fighting over it back and forth. It just was them, and I was like, "This is
That was your. I know you don't care, but that's actually from Orange County Choppers.
yes, that's the show. Yeah,
Mhm.
I've watched that show.
I used to watch. That
I
show
used to
all
watch
the
that
time,
show
too.
a lot.
Didn't the dad get like caught for selling steroids or
Something like that. Yeah, I think.
Something weird.
Yeah.
Like, no wonder everyone was so angry all
1993,
the time.
Steven Spielberg released Jurassic Park and Schindler's List.
It's about a group of people trapped in it. Kill them.
The other is Jurassic Park.
Yep, that's
Damn,
accurate.
yeah, that's accurate.
That's accurate.
Schindler's List is also one of my favorite movies of all time. I can't watch it very often, but I do love it quite a lot.
That
movie is
description
intense.
there by Melanie reminds me of the summation of The Wizard of Oz, where it's like, young girl goes to a new town, immediately commits murder, and then finds 3 friends, and they depart on an adventure to kill again.
Fucking accurate.
Yeah, I always remember my philosophy of film professor in college. We watched Wizard of Oz. He was trying to convince us all that Dorothy was a narcissist. Dorothy is like awful. And it's like, why do you have it in for Dorothy?
Yeah.
She didn't do anything.
She's just trying to get home.
Yeah, exactly. But she's like, no, it's all about me with Dorothy. I forget the exact argument,
Right.
but it was a funny argument
I mean,
because I laughed.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, kind of, but she helped out the Tin Man.
Oh,
She helped out
oiled him
everybody.
up.
Speaking of
Yeah.
The Wizard of Oz, I'm going to throw out an honorable mention.
For underrated?
For underrated, because my coworker Kendall did bring this up earlier because I was talking to her about it, and I think she has a valid point that Frank L. Baum is an underrated writer because he wrote The Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote 14 books in the series.
That I did not know.
And all anyone knows is the movie.
Yeah, I think that qualifies him as underrated.
And people are like, The Wizard of Oz, but no one knows.
If you said L. Frank Baum, like, is that a carpenter?
Yeah,
right,
I didn't know who you were talking about.
Yeah.
Like,
so I think that's would say he's underrated.
That's interesting because I think Lewis Carroll is known by his name as well as Alice in Wonderland. You know what I mean? Like, if you say Lewis, but if you say L. Frank Baum, less likely, I think.
Yeah,
people to
yeah,
make
yeah.
that
Lewis Carroll,
100%.
people know like
off the back of their hand.
Alice in Wonderland, or like, The Raven, Edgar Allan Poe,
right? Exactly.
Hamlet, Shakespeare, Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling.
I'll throw an underrated author in there. We're still doing that. David Mitchell.
Oh,
Who's
I know
that?
who this is.
Now, David Mitchell wrote a number of books. Probably most famous now for writing Cloud Atlas, which was adapted into.
That's what I think I.
But he's also written a lot of books. My favorite of his is called The Bone Clocks. It's a terrific book about time traveling, interdimensional hopping beings who are split into two factions of people who want to use this power for evil and control the world. The others who are fighting against them to let freedom ring throughout all time. Kind of like the Loki show in a weird way.
Yeah.
Noel, did you happen to like the Sneetches when you were a child?
Did I?
That's
a great question.
I'm sensing a theme
The
here
two
with
factions.
your...
Yeah. Speaking of Dr. Seuss. But I love the Bone Clocks. I love Cloud Atlas. Genuinely, I don't know. You guys seen that film?
No.
I have not.
Okay.
No.
I know what it is. I know what it is.
It's a very interesting film, and the book is even better. He also wrote a book called Black Swan Green that I would recommend to everybody. It's a very understated.
I think someone recommended that at some point. That
Black
sounds
Swan
familiar.
Green.
Yeah.
It's an understated but very poignant book about a young boy growing up in England who has a stutter.
Okay.
And he can't get over the stutter. And it's kind of his journey, just going through adolescence. Kind of like a take on The Catcher in the Catcher in the Rye, but without all the angst. And
I can see it in your eyes.
Without all the angst, and more about like he feels like his stutter is just gonna set him back permanently in life, and he feels a little despondent. Not like Holden where he was lashing out, but I know you're huge.
ready.
I know you're a huge Catcher.
I got an overrated author. For
Oh, here we go. Oh, okay.
In Salinger.
I was just waiting for. As soon as you said Catcher in the Rye,
Sorry,
I could just see Evan going.
but Black Swan Green, great book.
I will never read that book again, ever.
Oh, one was enough for me, and I was
Yeah.
as angsty as you could get as a teenager.
It was boring. It was annoying. It was everything that just made me not want to read that book.
Yeah, that's a book. If you see,
I've never
were
read
you
it.
assigned it in school? Is that why you? Okay,
Yep.
so that goes against the whole premise of the book. You have to find that book to get anything out of it. You can't be assigned. You know what I mean? It's the ultimate
I'm
rebel
not gonna
book.
give it another chance.
You don't have. I'm just. But you know what I'm saying?
Disliked the book.
But I think that's why you have, just because it's the ultimate punk rebel. Like, don't tell me what to do. You're all phonies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to find that book. You can't just be. That's my opinion.
Since we're on the topic,
Never read it, so I cannot have an opinion.
I think it is a little overrated, though. I would agree.
It's 100%.
It's just...
Yeah.
I would read All Quiet's on the Western Front 100 more times before reading that.
He hated that book too. I've never read that one either.
All's Quiet on the Western Front was just snooze fest.
You know, I had a roommate.
It was probably written
that
very
was one
well,
of his
but I
favorite
couldn't.
books. Big or buff. Of course, he would say that.
So yeah.
Yeah. So, but
he probably got a lot more out of it than me.
and I've never read it, but I wouldn't find much interest.
I'm not a big war person, but like
Yeah.
as far as war books go, like I really liked The Red Badge of Courage.
Is that Washington
I
Irving?
never read that one.
No. Who?
Since we're talking about like assigned reading in school, I think underrated author was Eli Wiesel. You ever read that? He wrote Night.
I read that. That's a great book.
That's
a brilliant
amazing book.
We were assigned that
book.
in 5th grade, I want to say, or 6th grade.
No, we read it in 10th grade.
Oh, okay.
With Miss Phillipson.
Oh, okay. Great book. Love that.
Brilliant book.
It was
That book
amazing.
wrote me.
Oh, it's
that book
devastating.
wrecked me.
That's a great book. I would agree. Underrated.
I think it was
Stephen Crane
9th grade
wrote
we
The
read
Red
it.
Badge of Courage.
Okay.
I dreamed that I was watching a stage musical version of The Catcher in the Rye. Yeah, I think was singing. I'm so sorry to hear about your nightmare.
Oh, Melanie, that's quite the dream.
No, I'll
But yeah, David Mitchell, I would say underrated. Check him out.
Let's see. As far as books being overrated goes, The Scarlet Letter.
Yeah.
I hated that book so much. I hated that book.
My beef with that book is you named your villain Chillingsworth.
He was the only part of the book I liked. I liked Roger Chillingsworth. I was like,
Chillingsworth.
yeah, that's kind of
not
his
very
vibe
subtle,
too.
though. Not very
No,
subtle.
no, not
yeah,
very
not
subtle.
subtle at all, man.
Mr. Chillingsworth, I presume.
I'm sure you're a very nice gentleman who's not chilling at all.
Bearing Catcher in the Rye with Go Tell It on the Mountain.
By James Baldwin, 2 teenage New York City boys and their different experiences of the day.
That sounds interesting.
That does sound very interesting.
Yeah.
Sounds more interesting than the book. I'm sorry, I'll stop.
Did you hear me ranting earlier about Fourth Wing?
Yeah.
You can
Yeah,
rant.
but
Did you watch?
Catcher in the Rye is considered a classic.
Did you watch me watch Rings of Power?
Well, yeah, but that was awful. No one enjoyed that show.
I think everyone enjoyed watching me suffer.
What was worse, that or live streaming Fantastic Beasts?
That
It
was worse. Because you know what? I live streamed.
And did it even make it to the second one?
no.
No. Rings of Power was worse. Rings
The
of
fact
Power
that
was
there's a
worse
season
because I had to
2.
do it like 7 times,
Yeah, that's
8 times.
bad. That's bad. Yeah. Oh god, I have to do this 7 more times.
I was trying to be an optimist too.
He was
with
like,
that.
by episode 4, he's like, oh well, you know, we got like 10 more
I
episodes.
was out after about 2 episodes because I talked to you guys about it. That was it. After that. No, I was already having my doubts.
Yeah,
we got like
Serious-
3 or 4
serious
episodes
doubts.
in. I thought, oh, it's probably like 12, 14 episodes, something
Maybe
like
it's
that.
just taking a
Like,
while to
it's
get
just-
going.
It's a slow burn, Tolkien takes a while, he's like
And they're kind of
long-winded.
reimagining shit.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, just hold on, it'll be fine,
Figure it out.
And then she's like, no, there's only 8 episodes. Oh, we're fucked.
Yeah, not a lot of real estate to turn this around here.
Listen,
Yeah.
listen, between Sauron, not Gandalf,
Nandalf.
Nandalf. Oh, Nandor. Lady Frodo and Sam, the volcano, Frodo and Sam.
The Scottish actress who you believed was doing the worst Scottish accent you've ever heard.
Yes, because it sounded fake.
Maybe you just don't know what a Scottish
Rings
accent.
of Power, overrated.
I know what a Scottish accent sounds like. I think it was because she was just so over the top that I was like, this is terrible.
That was probably the best part about that was when you were complaining about her the whole episode. Oh my god, that's the worst accent ever. It's so couldn't they have gotten a real Scottish lady? And I looked her up. Born and raised in Scotland.
Yeah. Well, you didn't hear her. It grated on my ears. She was this is a book author stream. This is not a complaint about Rings of Power for the 1000th time again stream.
Actually, before I mess up the underrated author, can you hand me one of the Witcher books? Because I'm gonna mess up this name. But I want to mess it up less.
My shoulders are sore from reindeer time. I'm sorry.
I know like no Polish, so
Reindeer
I'm
time.
about to pronounce this really poorly.
And reindeer time yesterday.
What does that mean?
That means we had to grab the reindeer and give them medicines.
So
Oh,
I will not ask.
Reindeer are strong. That's all I'm gonna say. They're strong animals.
my next underrated is Andrzej Sapkowski,
Author of The Witcher book.
author of the Witcher books. The Witcher books are so good. They're one of the most underrated fantasy books I think I've read.
Oh God, here we go.
Seems like they come from a real, genuine place of.
They do.
Yeah.
A lot of it is he takes old fairy tales and kind of like revamps them. Those not 100% original, but he does it in a way where like everything's really well written.
Yeah.
Like
But I mean,
my
J.K. Rowling
biggest-
does that.
my biggest issue is he builds the world and he puts a lot in the world, but then you have to remember all these places. And for me, just is my first introduction to like Polish.
Oh yes.
Because it's translated from Polish. He's originally
Got it.
Polish writer, but they keep the names the same. So like all these
Okay.
places are these weird Polish names, and I'm just were these the good guys or no? Wait,
Oh.
It's like reading Dostoevsky. Every character is like Stolflankostink or whatever. Yeah.
See, I don't have a problem
Yeah.
with that with Dostoevsky, but I know Russian, so it's different, I guess.
and I mean, other than
Speaking
that, I
of
think
Crime and Punishment, good book. Everyone should read that.
Yeah, Dostoevsky is an amazing author.
Also, The Idiot. That is also a good.
Notes from the Underground, the one I would stump.
I really like The Idiot a lot. That was really good. Prince Mishkin. Oh,
Yeah, there's a recurring theme with mine is a lot were introduced to me in college reading classes, but when I read Notes from the Underground for the first time, I was just blown away. Blown away. Amazing reading experience.
I read Dostoevsky because I just wanted to read in high
yeah.
school.
wow, okay. Weird.
Oh, okay. I have an underrated author, which kind of falls in the camp of everyone loves him. We all know he's great. Franz Kafka.
Never read him.
And
I've heard of him. I've never read him though.
the reason why I love Kafka is because not only was he a great author of paranoid short fiction, but he was an advocate for workers' rights, and he was very active in his own personal life on that subject. So a lot of his books are themed around paranoia, are really about the plight of the
Working man.
working man, and
Just what Upton Sinclair was doing.
Um,
Just to circle all the way back around.
but Kafka's stories are dark and scary.
Well,
and bad things happen to his.
I also feel like Kafka is a writer,
like that.
whereas
Yeah.
Sinclair was definitely a journalist.
And
Reporting.
that's a great distinction because Kafka could have taken that route and like put his real philosophy into his, but he was like, no.
But that's why I feel like The Jungle reads. The Jungle reads as an expose, and I'm going to write an expose with the cover and the veneer of this character.
Yeah.
Well, whereas again, not having read Kafka, he invents stories to
elucidate these points.
Yes,
but
yes,
also be honest with imagination.
Yeah.
Like, not have an ending that will correlate with his beliefs. It's just he lets the story play out naturally, and that's what I really like. He could have been almost a ideologue in his writing, but he wasn't. He was honest in humanity. Anyway, great writer. I mean, not happy stuff to be reading.
But doesn't mean it's not
No.
good.
Yeah.
Do we feel...
Well, that's kind of like McCormick, The Road.
McCarthy?
McCarthy, thank you. Yeah,
McCormick.
McCormick.
McCormick
Are we
McLagan?
talking about McCormick McLagan? Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Hermione, you know I'm hot stuff.
No, McCarthy. Yeah, like McCarthy, The Road. Great book. The most depressing book I've ever read, though.
Yeah.
There is no sense of hope or anything in that book.
Yeah.
How do we...
You just want to.
But he is routinely cited as the better contemporary authors. Years.
Yeah. As long as you can get back
Past
past the
that.
fact that
It's all
he
dark.
doesn't use any punctuation.
yeah. Maybe I'll take that back.
Are you? Yes, we've had one sentence, but what about second sentence?
Yeah, that's the next.
Not
one.
until the next
That's
book.
the. Yeah.
After this series is over, we'll start doing paragraphs.
Yeah, or maybe his whole au revoir will be just one run-on sentence and then one period at the end.
How do we feel about Lovecraft?
I love Lovecraft. That guy was a genius.
Overrated or under?
I think he's solidly rated.
Yeah, I think he's solidly rated.
I mean, we can talk about his, we can slight him for his personal beliefs about things.
I'm just talking about his body of work.
Body of work is genius.
I think so. I love Lovecraft.
I mean,
he's one of my favorites.
He was a pioneer in horror fiction. And
fish people.
Weird fiction.
The cat story is still one of my favorite cat stories. The black cat story.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I mean...
Alright, let's just put it out there. J.K. Rowling. We have not talked about her. Is she overrated, underrated, or just Goldilocks with?
Interesting question.
All right, I'm gonna say something that.
All right, he went there before I could go.
He's gonna say she's overrated.
I think so. Blast shields ready. Deploy blast shields.
She's overrated. Now, here's my thing with Rowling. I think Harry Potter was a great story. I think that's about it. Like, I don't, I think that's like her story. I think Harry Potter is not overrated, but I think she is an author.
Okay. One of the common canards lobbed at her is that she's adverbs too much. So a lot of ly type stuff.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, that's a fine criticism.
Well,
I find them.
I think she had her moment with Harry Potter, and then you were talking about the strike books, and the way you were describing them to me, I haven't read them, but I might, just to see if my theory is right, because the way you were describing them, it seems like it follows the same structure as Harry Potter. Like a lot of the mysteries and stuff from book to book, because you were saying like there's so many parallels between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So it just kind of sounds like she has this one great storyline, and she
did
can
it
like,
again with different characters.
Yeah,
okay.
Kind of.
Having read the books, the parallels are there, but it is not Harry. The parallels are there, like that stuff is fun, but they are different stories. And I would argue that Harry Potter is brilliant. Absolutely is classic literature.
Will be read again in 50 years.
Yes.
I just think like...
But I think the strike novels give you a different perspective on how she writes. And I think demonstrate that she really is quite a consummate writer and a master of her craft. She does not do the adverb thing much.
Okay. And again, I'm not saying I didn't like it, but I've seen that as a criticism against her.
Don't use an adverb if you don't have to.
Right.
Right. That's a rule.
Which is classic.
Here's
that's
kind
just
of like
classic
the standards.
Writing advice.
Here's kind of the standards I put her to, and why I think she's overrated. Because you have people like Michael Crichton or Neil Gaiman who just have this imagination, right? They just have this long list of books they've written.
Yeah.
And like all of them are very different from the other one.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have people who are like kind of the one world wonder. I don't want to say one hit wonders, but like one world wonder, where it's like Tolkien and George R. R. Martin.
You wrote a great series.
You wrote a great series.
Frank Herbert.
Frank Herbert, another great example.
And there were, Frank Herbert's another perfect one. And the world and everything is just so fleshed out, like from bottom to top. And then Rowling, she's that one series wonder. I haven't read the strike novels, so maybe I won't say that. But either way, and like the Harry Potter world was kind of fleshed out, but it was like built in a bubble within like the modern world. Like when you look at like, I don't compare it to those other ones because they just started with a blank slate, right? Like Middle Earth, there's nothing to compare it to like
Right. She's got an integrated magical world versus a standalone by
Tabula
itself
rasa,
magical
yeah.
world.
Yeah. She had to make pieces that fit in the world. Well, you know, Herbert, Tolkien, Martin
Well,
had to create the world
she
and
chose
then make all the
to
rules.
do that.
I know, but I'm just saying when you
But
put it
also
up there, like
the ring composition, the literary alchemy.
yeah, it's all great, but like other writers have done that too. I'm just saying I don't think that she isn't the best in any section, and some people think she's like the best.
So a similar of the Tolkien thing. Like, we all love it, we all know it's great, but maybe a little overblown. Just the scale of the fandom and pop culture, the movies.
Well,
But I'm not saying it.
And
like with Tolkien, it's just like the
Hero
fandom that pushes him way over
But
the top.
Okay, sorry.
With Rowling, I think it's.
But could we?
She's a great writer, but she's not the best.
But do we want to maybe argue that the fans did to Rowling what the fans have done to Tolkien? The difference is that Tolkien is dead.
No,
wait, I'm not done.
Oh.
And the fans put her up on this huge pedestal, and that's why she's got all this backlash and canceling and stuff happening, because they put her up so high, and then she disappointed everybody by not being perfect. And that's part of the reason why there's all this turmoil surrounding her as a person and all this stuff about her. She's the best, she's the worst. It's because of the fandom doing this with her like they did to Tolkien. The only difference is Tolkien is dead and he never had a Twitter, so he never had a chance to say anything shitty to disappoint people.
I don't think so, because I think it's a little bit different. I think people kind of propped up the books, not so much
Her as
Rowling.
I don't know. You weren't there.
When it was all happening,
when it was all
like
happening,
Pottermania,
when it
like,
was Pottermania, people were like
a genuine cultural phenomenon.
And people were like, she was like a god to people. She could do no wrong. She's like the mother I never had. There was a lot of that.
I will say this.
You're just not seeing it anymore because of everything that's happened over the last couple of years. But there were people who literally worshiped the ground she walked on.
I will say this. If Rowling, you could look at this one way, and if Rowling came out and said, just one day, you're welcome, she could be playing 4D chess right now, because she literally made everyone look up to her as this perfect being, and then disappointed them, and they found out, oh, she's flawed, yada yada, and she could just be like, congratulations, now you're Harry Potter. Because he just looked up to Dumbledore like he was this great, magnificent being.
Well, I've always said that.
You're living the story right now.
This is part of
my plan the whole time. Yeah, right.
This is part of what
That's interesting.
I've said about Rowling and about people that we admire when we're kids, that we shouldn't put people up on these huge pedestals like this because we're gonna get disappointed.
Never meet your heroes.
And that happening with Harry, with Dumbledore, is like a natural phase of growing up. It's part of life that's what happens when you grow up, is you realize your heroes are actually flawed people. That the wizard is just a dude behind a curtain pulling some levers. Like it's a rite of passage almost.
It could be considered just a natural maturity as you grow as a reader. Pick up different things on different readers.
Yeah, that's true.
You take away different things. So when we were kids reading Harry Potter, of course, we didn't
have the magic and the dragons and
it's so exciting. We didn't have the full bulwark of this rich history of literature to compare it to. You know, it was just a great story and completely enchanting.
Well, and Rowling does do what some of these other writers that we've talked about do, and Martin does it. And Martin just talks about what he takes. Like, these writers all take from pre-existing things like Greek mythology, Celtic mythology, all these older stories.
Intertextual.
And
I mean, Tolkien is largely Norse.
Yeah. And kind of puts it in a pot and stirs it full of a cauldron full of hot, strong love.
But that's an
I think
interesting way to tell a story.
It's great.
You remix the past, and what are you gonna come up with?
Yeah. I think it's a Shakespeare quote where Shakespeare said there are only 5 true stories to tell, but the variations are infinite.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily always the story, but how you tell the story too. Which is why Ernest Hemingway sucks. And apparently J.D. Salinger as well.
100%.
Yeah, I am. I'll definitely be on your team here. That Salinger. Oh, I mostly say this because when I was in high school, not Norway. There was a teacher there who Salinger fanboy. The guy was like in his 40s, but he wore black every day.
God.
He was like a goth, and he was in his 40s and trying to be Holden.
Ugh.
Bernstein.
No, Bernstein's cooler than this.
Okay.
Guy. And that now you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay. I don't know why I thought him, but he was like the only one I could think of at the time.
But Bernstein is a cool like
Bernstein was more like Jack Kerouac.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And this guy I'm talking about, this teacher, like I said, he wore black every day. He moped around all the time. Like it's like I'm 14 and you're 45 and I'm more mature.
You're doing that shit at 45, man.
Stop sulking.
That's sad.
I'm allowed to sulk. I'm 15. You know? Like, yeah. Don't vicariously sulk through me. Okay?
Okay. You wanted to be Ian Malcolm.
Jeff Goldblum.
Wasn't smart enough to be a chaostician. AKA string theory. Quantum physicists.
Wizard of Oz is very quantum.
It is, actually.
And my mom was actually...
That's a really layered and deep movie, actually.
My mom was being... someone published a paper or something about the Wizard of Oz, and they were talking about the author. They said because he was publishing in like the 1920s and 30s, he couldn't come out and talk about things like you are the god and you are... everyone is you pushed out and all that.
Oh, yeah.
So he like put it in the books because he couldn't just talk about it because hypocrisy, sacrilege.
You know, I was driving to Syracuse recently, and I took a back road to avoid the highways. I'm driving through these towns, and I swear to God, I see this sign. I think it was for Chittenango or one of those towns. It just said birthplace of L. Frank Baum.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, good for you, you know?
It's like Lafayette or one of those.
Fayetteville or maybe something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow.
Yep.
This is so cool. He was from upstate New York.
Yeah.
That's sick.
I'm going to have to tell Kendall. I don't think she knows that.
Yeah, no, I was literally driving on this little towns and place of L. Frank Baum.
That's like when you go to Hamilton.
Carl Sagan lived in upstate New York.
Carl Sagan did live in upstate.
Pretty sure he was born here or he was born in the city. I can't remember.
It's like the sign when you go into Hamilton. Isaac, what's his face? Inventor of the computer.
That's crazy.
Born in Hamilton.
Let's go, upstate New York.
Yeah.
Maybe someday you won't be completely...
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem. All those people leave.
They left and were awesome people, and the rest of us are like...
Yeah, Sagan taught at Cornell.
Oh, yeah. I recently...
Well, that's the thing about upstate New York, though. It's Cornell. Like, you live in upstate if you're going to... at Cornell. Like...
Yeah, it's true.
Syracuse University. RIT.
There's also a place up in the Adirondacks. It's like one of the darkest places in the country. Like, perfect for stargazing. That's why you get a lot of, like, astrophysicists and stuff up here.
I recently heard a theory that Sigmund Freud visited Utica. After his Utica visit, his mindset towards life took a downturn. And I don't know if any of you viewers know about Utica. You don't want to know.
The book, I had the Book of Eels.
What's the Book of Eels? Okay.
The Book of Eels.
Uh-huh.
He talks about Sigmund Freud, and apparently Sigmund Freud went to this town when he was young to, like, study the eels to find their reproductive organs. And he spent...
As you do.
As you do in your early 20s.
We've all been there.
And apparently it was so discouraging that, like, it portended a lot of his future theories about women because, like, I guess he, like, couldn't get a date while he was there. Like, it was
all because of the eels, man.
He couldn't find any gonads in the eels. Like, it was like a whole thing. There's like a whole chapter.
I can't find gonads in eels. I can't find them anywhere. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. No, yeah, someone told me, yeah, Sigmund Freud visited Utica, and after that, oh boy, that's why. Utica's the blame for our entire history of psychoanalysis.
I mean, in the Urban Dictionary, Utica is called the city that God forgot. So
true. Oh my God.
Man, I lived there for 2 years. I'm aware of what Utica is. I lived it.
I mean, I'm close, but I never go.
But there was a Jamaican patty shop on the main street that was on Genesee Street that was pretty good.
Right. There's a Genesee Street in every town.
Have
you noticed that?
Yeah, I think there is.
I don't think I've ever been to a city or town that doesn't have a Genesee Street.
Yeah. The Jamaican patty place that was one good thing about Utica.
Yeah, I would recommend against Overrated. Utica is an overrated author. Yeah.
Is it even rated?
It shouldn't be. Oh God, now I'm gonna get a lot of flack from Utica people.
I don't know if we have any from.
Okay, good.
Share this with a Utica friend.
No, don't. I want to wake up tomorrow.
No, they'll probably be like, "Yeah, it sucks here."
No, I think it's not even an open. Everyone.
No, everyone knows. Yeah. Everyone knows because it's terrible.
Me and Alex unearthed this old video of the old mayor of Utica giving an interview on Good Morning America for some reason.
God.
And the literal mayor of the town, it's like a video interview. He's going around going, "Look at this building. It looks like crap. Look at this patch of land. It looks like shit." And he's like, and this mayor's like, "I have houses in Paris. I have houses in Rome, but I choose to live in Utica. And you know why? Because we can do better." What? You have houses in Paris and you live in Utica? This guy was a kook.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Oh man. On that note, we got off the subject. And I'm kind of out of.
I'm kind of tapped too.
Everyone.
Yeah, I'm kind of tapped.
Well. I can't. I named all mine for sure that I came up.
I could name a bunch of other great authors, but I don't think they're under or overrated.
It would just be a conversation of, I really like this guy. I really like this guy. But we don't need to do that.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'll say Colson Whitehead, David Mitchell, 2 underrated authors from my book, unintended, that I would recommend.
I haven't read her yet, but I intend to, and I've heard a lot of good things. So I don't know if I would call her underrated, but she might be underrated, so I'm just going to throw it out here. Naomi Novik.
Nope.
She wrote the Deadly Education books and the Napoleonic Wars, but with dragons. Whatever that series is. I want to read those.
You've heard good things?
I've heard a lot of really, really good things. Unlike the Fourth Wing hype.
Mm-hmm.
These are from...
Are dragons like having a moment now?
I think dragons have always had
I guess
a
that's
moment.
true. It is the year of the dragon, actually.
It is the year of the dragon.
The year of the dragon.
I mean, I will never not be excited about dragons.
I love dragons.
Unless it's Fourth Wing.
Yeah, I'm real Well, I was hoping that, like...
Well, it seems like the dragons in that are at least cool.
Well...
There's not even that. Well, now we need to burn that.
I don't even know what the dragons look like.
Yeah, that's a shame. What? You didn't even see a dragon yet?
No, they're in there, but there's like no descriptions of the dragons.
One's black and its tail looks like a morning star.
Yeah,
that's all we know.
All I get is its teeth are as long as my body. Its claws are razor sharp.
Well, isn't she supposed to be like super small? So it's not even impressive.
Yeah.
Like, as tall as my body. Like, is that supposed to be impressive, or are you just trying to tell us how pathetic you are?
That's what I mean. So, like, I was like, maybe if this book sucks, but the dragons are good, okay. But so far,
it sounds like no dragons.
I'm like, I want to like the dragons,
and a lot of like.
I will say the black dragon
with the Morningstar.
With the Morningstar tail is like a crotchety old man.
Man dragon.
And he, like, tells her to just like shut the fuck up and do what I say. And I do appreciate that because God,
Someone's gotta.
yeah, someone has to. So like I'm like, okay. But you chose to bond with this person. Dragon.
Every time you talk about like soul bonding with the dragon, just go back to Rick and Morty. Slut dragon.
Slut dragon. I want it to get better.
That was a very amusing episode.
I want it to get better. Maybe it'll get better.
Maybe
I don't know.
Give it a chance.
The dragons just showed up, so we'll see.
This isn't.
I
Rings of
love a
Power,
good
just
dragon
time.
in a book. I love a good dragon in a book. I'm a big fan of Smaug. I liked Glaurung.
I love that his name is actually Smaug. When you corrected me, I thought you were being funny.
Like an
Just
asshole.
say-
Like
yeah.
it's
Smaug.
his name.
I know. I
he's
love
very
that.
upper
That's
class.
actually. I just used to call him Smaug.
It's Smaug.
Yeah, Smaug.
Like Sauron. Not Sauron, it's Sauron.
He really likes his AUs, doesn't he?
He
This guy.
likes his AUs and his double dots over other things.
His
and-
umlauts.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Double L's,
Double
Y's.
Ls, yeah, he's going Welsh with it.
Oh my
yeah.
god, yeah. Jeez. I mean, George R. R. Martin likes his Y's too. Should that be an I? No, it's gonna be a Y.
Everything Y.
Everything Y. Because that's how you know it's the Middle Ages, because it's spelled with Y's.
Yep.
We're gonna use modern names, but spelt with Y's, spelled differently.
It's a medieval fantasy. Here's
That's
this
how you
dude
know it's the
named
ye olde
Brendan.
times.
Oh my god, I was just picturing. I don't know why this just came to mind, but Billie Eilish replace all the I's with Y's.
No,
That would be sick.
it hurts.
Come on, Billy.
Do it.
Go goth on it. Well, you
Go.
already kind of were going goth on us.
Go medieval.
Go
on us.
medieval on us. Yeah. Break out the Y's. You know?
Oh my gosh.
Nah, I'm just joking, Billy. I love you.
Yeah, we'll see. 90% of the time, I'll say if there's dragons in it, it's gonna be a good book. But we'll see. Await my review.
Maybe she'll surprise you.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I like this open-minded. Keep an
I'm
open
trying to
mind.
be open-minded, but I feel like it's Rings of Power open-mindedness coming at me right now. Oh,
We'll stay positive. On that note, though, does anyone else have anything? to
I'm
add?
good. I'm set.
Yeah, I mentioned all mine. I hope people took something away from this. I mean, interesting conversation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, some authors just aren't worth it, even though they got big names.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Like Patterson, just give it up, man. You don't even do it.
I feel like we could have talked about some of the classics too, but
We just didn't get there.
I think that's like a different
Yeah.
live stream.
I think that's
like
a
focusing just on the
classic
classics.
books, overrated or not,
Because
or loved it or hated it.
there are some
Right.
classic books where it's like I get why you should read this if like you're trying to get into like an English major or become a writer or something
Or
like
a
that.
scholar or
Yeah.
But
whatever.
if you're just reading for fun, like it's not worth it.
Yeah. We were saying earlier, and this might ruffle some feathers, but F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Yeah, I'm not into
Overrated.
it. Yeah, I feel like
overrated.
he's overrated.
I
I get why they want you to read it.
Mhm.
I'm just like, it's not that.
And I mean,
Great Gatsby put me to sleep.
I like Gatsby, but his later work
Yeah.
does not compare. And I mean, if you look at his history, he had writer's block big time after Gatsby. I mean, he could not capture that lightning again.
Randy Feltface. I've done the one.
Right.
Fucking nailed it.
It's actually a great movie about Fitzgerald's writer's block called Genius. It's actually more about Thomas Wolfe, but Fitzgerald is in the movie, and he's really great depiction of a writer
I've heard
struggling
of this
with
movie.
writer's. It's actually a
I've heard of
really
this
good
movie.
movie.
I've heard of this
I would
before.
recommend that movie, Genius. It's about Thomas Wolfe. Great acting, and yeah, you get to see what a true writer's block. I mean, can be debilitating if you're a professional.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Harper Lee did one time. One book, one time. Chef's Kiss. Nailed it.
Technically
done.
too.
Technically two. Technically two.
Yeah.
But
give or take, 50 years.
Yeah.
during her lifetime, one book.
One book. That's it. And just
But
rode those
what a book.
coattails.
Right.
What a book.
Like I said, Randy Feltface. I've done the one.
I've done the one.
You read the one?
Been there, done that.
Nailed it.
Fucking nailed it.
That's one of the greatest comedy skits of all time.
That and the segment where I've done a mischief.
Did you ever see that?
No,
one?
you guys showed me that.
Yeah.
And my favorite was the extended on Marvin. What was his name?
Morgan.
Morgan. Oh, the creepy laugh. That was the best little skit. I that bit had
The
me
story
in
about
stitches.
Morgan. Oh my god.
Absolute stitches.
Anyway, we're continuing
On
on
that
to
note, we'll end on this.
Yes.
Okay, so what was the type of book that you dislike?
dystopian.
Dystopian. Okay.
Yeah,
And I
it's not my thing.
I hate romance novels. So be on the lookout. After we finish this up, I am going to make a post on YouTube where you guys can recommend either a dystopian novel or a romance novel that we will read that you think will change our idea of the genre.
Oh,
So suggest me a romance novel that would make me
Embrace
not hate romance
change
novels.
my mind is what you're saying.
Change-
Yeah.
my mind on
and
romance.
suggest
my
to
mind.
me a dystopian novel that will not make me want to gouge my eyes out while I'm reading it.
I could honestly name you a few.
Well,
I'll
you
let-
like
I'll let
the
people
genre, so
I don't know if I have a bugaboo when it comes to
let the people tell me.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night,
Thank you
everybody.
for joining us.